All right. So in economics, we were discussing this chapter, which is concept of cost. And as usual, before proceeding further in this chapter, we will first revise everything, then only discuss the new topics. So those of you who are attending this class for the first time or doing this chapter for the first time, because you guys have missed two sessions of this particular chapter, so I guess you will feel you will have to face some difficulty understanding the few concepts. But let's try. Uh, I'll try to resolve your doubts. Okay, so first of all, we will revise everything. So, Samisha, can you please just tell me what is the last topic that we have covered in this particular chapter?
So we finished total cost. Total cost.
Okay, so we haven't covered a lot. All right.
No,
We
no,
have
sir.
done
Marginal
marginal
also.
cost.
Marginal cost also. We have
Last
done.
we did was marginal cost.
Marginal
Okay,
cost
okay,
also we
okay.
have done.
All right. Okay, no problem. Let's first revise everything. So in this chapter, we have in the previous classes, we have discussed the meaning of cost, wherein I have explained that cost refers to the amount spent on production of any kind of goods or services. As a producer, whatever you are producing, or if you are rendering any kind of services, you require resources, right? For example, you require raw material, labor, machine, all of these things you require, and for that purpose, you have to spend money. So whatever the amount that you spend on purchase or acquisition of these resources is considered as the cost. So whatever the amount is spent on the production of any good or service is called cost. Cost can be categorized as the implicit or the explicit cost. So whatever the resources that you requires for producing good, it may be possible that few resources are already available with you. You are not required to purchase those resources from the market, but those there is a possibility that you already own certain resources. So all of those things that you already own, all of the resources that are self owned by the owner of the business, is the estimated value of those resources is considered as the implicit cost. And whatever the amount that we spent on purchase of factors of production from the market, so the amount spent on acquisition of any resource from the market is called the explicit cost. For example, you will be buying raw material, you will be hiring a labor employee, a manager. For you must be paying for the electricity, water supplies. So amount spent on these resources is considered as the explicit cost, as the payment is given to some outsider. But for example, let's suppose you, in order to run a business, you require furniture. You already have furniture at your home, and you have decided that you will use that furniture in the business. So furnitures are, for the time being, you are not required to purchase the furniture from the market. Hence, the estimated value of those furniture is considered as the implicit cost. So whatever the resources that you are using in the business can be categorized into two parts. Resources can be self-owned, resources can be purchased from the market. If the resources are self-owned, you already own the resources, then the market value of those resources is considered as the implicit cost of the business. And if resources are not owned, then it means that you will be you must have bought those resources from the market. So whatever the amount that you have paid for the purchase of those resources from the market, the amount that you have paid is called the explicit cost. All right. Other than this classification, we can also categorize the cost as the fixed and the variable cost. Fixed cost refers to the cost that does not change with the change in the level of production. Even if production increases or decreases, if cost remains same, that is called fixed cost. And if the as the production changes, the cost keep on changing, that means it is a variable cost. For example, you are spending on raw material, labor, fuel. So the requirement of labor, fuel, and raw material will keep on changing as the production changes. If you will produce more quantity, you will require more labor, you will require more raw material, you will require more fuel, more electricity. So the amount spent on these resources, these factors, is considered as the variable cost. Whereas there are certain resources on which only the payment is made only once, and after that, even if the production increases or decreases, we do not have to spend more amount. Like for example, you have bought a machinery, and machinery have costed, for example, you have bought a machinery for rupees 50,000. So once the investment of 50,000 is made into the machinery, then if you produce goods, let's say if you are producing only 100 unit, 1000 unit, 2000 unit, 20,000 unit, you will not, you are not required to buy any other machinery now. You have already invested on the machine. Therefore, if you increase the production or decreases the production, the amount that you have spent on the machinery will remain constant. So the amount that does not change with the change in the level of output is called the fixed cost. Getting my point? And any amount that keep on changing from production with the production, that is called variable cost. So we have already understood these topics. After that, we have covered the meaning of the total cost. In the total cost, I've explained that the sum total of the fixed and variable cost is the total cost. Sum total of the fixed and variable cost is called total cost. So fixed plus variable is called total cost. All right. Other than this, in the last class, we have done the meaning of the marginal cost. So marginal cost is what? Marginal cost is the extra cost of producing output. Whatever the extra amount that a producer is spent on production of a commodity is called the marginal cost. So let's do one numerical example based on the topics that we have already covered. And after that, we will start a new concept in this chapter, uh, which will be average cost. So let's first of all do few questions based on the concept that we have already covered in this chapter. Just a minute. Okay. So, all right. So everyone, please note this down along with me. So first of all, we will be taking the value of output. Let's take output as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And also assume there is fixed cost. Fixed cost can be represented by FC. Those of you who are attending the class for the first time, please keep this in mind. FC indicate fixed cost and VC for variable cost. And TC means total cost. And MC means marginal cost. All right. So let's assume the value of fixed cost is, for the first unit it is 100. For the first unit it is 100. So that means if at the first unit it is 100, it will be 100 at all the units. All right. So right now I'm not giving the other values. Fixed cost is variable cost is given to you. Let's say variable cost is at 0 unit, it will be 0 definitely. And at the first unit, it is 80, then 150, then 200, then 220, and then 300, then 400, and finally 600. Okay. So in this question, we need to find out the value of the total cost and the marginal cost. We need to find out the value of the total cost and the marginal cost and the remaining values of the fixed cost. So all of these values will be, you will be required to calculate. So please note this down, everyone, and tell me the value for the total cost and the marginal cost. Those of you
Yes, sir.
who have not done the earlier session of this chapter, let me tell you, in order to find out the total cost, everyone, in order to find out the total cost, we will be adding the fixed costs and the variable cost. So once you add the fixed and variable cost, you will be able to find out the total cost. All right. So in this question, as the fixed cost is given in at the first unit, it is 100. No, if it is given 100 at the first unit, that means fixed cost will be constant at see, one of the characteristic of the fixed cost is that it remains constant throughout
Constant.
the production. That means if it is 100 at the first unit, that means it will be 100 at the till the 7th unit. So you can take the 100 at all the unit of output. So fixed cost will remain same. Now once you find out the value of fixed cost, You can simply now add the fixed cost and the variable cost to calculate the total cost, right? Is this okay? Arish, sorry, Ikra and Sakshi. Ikra and Sakshi. Is this clear? How you can calculate the value of total cost and fixed cost?
No, sir.
No?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. Let me explain this again. See, Sakshi, you know what is fixed cost? Fixed cost is the amount spent on fixed factor of production, right? Fixed factor of production is called fixed cost. And one of the characteristics of the fixed cost is that it always remains constant. So whatever we are spending at the first unit, it will be same at all the units. So in this question, fixed cost is what 100 at first unit. That means for the second unit also, it will be how much? It will be 100. For the third unit also, it will be 100. For the fourth unit, it will be 100. For the fifth unit as well, it will be 100. For the sixth unit, it will be 100. And for the seventh unit, it will be 100 again. And can you guess at the 0 unit how much it will be? For the 0 unit as well? Tell me, Sakshi.
100.
100 again. Why? Because fixed cost always remains constant. That is it. That is what I was telling you. Now, once you found the value of the fixed cost, now what you can do in order to find out the total cost, as I told you, fixed cost plus variable cost is the total cost. See, we have only two types of cost, fixed and the variable cost. So once you add the fixed and variable cost, you will be able to find out the total cost. So let's first add the fixed and variable to find out the total. So at 0 unit of output, see at 0 unit of output, how much is the fixed cost?
Which chapter is this?
We are discussing theory of cost, concept of cost, microeconomics. Any problem?
No, sir.
Okay. So just a minute. All right. So in order to find out the total cost, what we will be doing, we will be adding the fixed cost and the variable cost. So 100 plus 0, it will be 100 only. Then 100 plus 80, it will be 180. 100 plus 150, it will be 250. Then 200 plus 100, it will be 300. Then 220 plus 100, 320. Then 400. Then 500. Then 700. Is this clear? Ikra, is this clear to you? Sakshi, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now see, in order to find out the marginal cost, what we will be doing, see, meaning of marginal cost is marginal cost refers to the additional cost. Marginal cost actually means extra cost or the additional cost of producing extra unit of output. Extra unit of output. So when one extra unit of output is produced, whatever the extra amount we spend is called the marginal cost. So keeping this in mind, we will be calculating the value of marginal cost, and marginal cost will be for the first unit. See, for the 0 unit, we will not be calculating the value of marginal cost, because at 0 unit, you won't be able to find out the marginal cost. So for 0 unit, it is skipped. Now see, when one unit of output is produced from 0 to 1, how much extra output we have produced? One extra output we have produced. And in order to produce one extra output, tell me how much is the extra total cost we have incurred? Tell me, Sakshi, for producing one extra unit of output, how much extra total cost we have incurred? How much extra cost we have spent? Earlier we were spending 100, now we are spending 180. So tell me the total cost. Tell me the additional cost we have incurred. extra cost we have incurred? Tell me, Sakshi.
280.
280 is the extra cost. 280
No,
not
when I
is
added when I
no
added 100 and 180.
no. That is not I was saying. I'm saying the extra additional cost. What is the extra cost incurred? So earlier we were spending 100. When we have produced one extra unit, we have spent total of 180. That means extra spending is 80 rupees only, right? For producing one extra unit, how much extra amount we have spent? 80 extra. See, 80 extra. Now for producing this second unit, we have spent how much extra amount? From 180, the total cost increases to 250. That means total cost increases by how much? From 180 it goes to 250. That means total cost increases by 70. So that the 70 is the marginal cost, right? Similarly, from 250 it goes to 300. That means total cost increases by 50. So 50 will be the marginal cost. Again, from 300 to 320, cost increases by 20. That means marginal cost will be 20. Again, from 320 to 400, total cost increases by 80. So marginal cost will be 80. So whatever the change taking place in the total cost will be considered as the total marginal cost. So 100 and 200. Is this clear, all of you? Sakshi, is this
Yes,
clear to
sir.
you as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So, okay, I'm giving you one more question and let's see whether you are able to calculate this or not. Please, everyone, write this down. This time, output again, output as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And fixed cost we have, let's, this is 20. Then marginal, no. Then variable cost is given. Variable cost is 0 and total cost is given this time. Total cost is 80. Oh no, it cannot be 80. No, it will be 20.
20.
Then 80. Then it goes to 120. Then 150. Then 200. 300. 450. And 800. So these are the values of the total cost. We need to find out the value of the marginal cost. We need to find out the value of the variable cost and the remaining value for the fixed cost. Come on, everyone, just try this. Calculate the value of the marginal, variable, and the fixed cost. Then we will proceed further with the next topic. And just let me know if you are having any difficulty in calculating this, especially Arisha, Samiksha, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Ikra, you are getting everything. You are able to understand this, whatever we are doing in the class. Output, fixed cost, sorry, fixed cost and the variable, concept of fixed cost and the total cost and the variable cost. Is the concept of marginal, fixed, and variable is clear to you as well?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, there is one total cost missing.
One total cost is missing.
Yes, sir.
For which unit? For the first unit.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's okay.
Okay, sir.
For the first unit, it will be 50. Done, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So fixed cost will be 20 on every output, 20, 20. Okay. And variable cost, in order to find out the variable cost, we will simply see, as I told you, in order to find out the total cost, we add fixed cost plus variable cost to find out the total cost. But in order to find out the variable cost, what we will do, we will simply reduce
Reduce.
fixed cost from the total cost.
Minus FC.
TC minus FC, we will get variable cost. So from the total cost, we will be reducing the variable cost. All right. And by doing that, we will be able to find out the variable cost. So 20 minus 20, we will get 0. Then 50 minus 20, we will get 30.
30.
80 minus 20, we will get 60.
60.
120 minus 20, we will get
100.
100. Then 150 minus 120, we will get 130.
130.
180. Then
280.
280.
430.
430.
780.
780. This is the variable cost. Tell me, everyone, is this clear? Ikra, Sakshi?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we will find out the marginal cost. And as I told you, in the marginal cost, at 0 unit of output, marginal cost will be 0. And always remember that at the first unit, marginal cost is always equal to the variable cost. So at the first unit, marginal cost is always equal to the variable cost. All right. Now, in order to find out the marginal cost at the second unit, we will simply just compare the values of the total cost. Earlier it was 50. Now we are spending 80. That means 30 is the
30.
marginal cost. Earlier we were spending 80. Now we are spending 120. That means marginal cost is 40. Then 30. Then 50. Then 100. 150. And
350.
350. Done. Tell me, everyone, is this clear? All of you, Arisha, Samiksha,
Yes, sir.
Steve,
Yes, sir.
Sakshi, and Ikra. Okay. All right. Now let's start the next concept. Next concept in this chapter is the average cost. Now we will be discussing about the average cost. Just a minute. Let me change the slide. Okay. So we will now discuss the meaning of the average cost. So what is average cost? Anyone? What is average cost? Can anyone tell me? All right, let me explain this. Average cost is average cost. Average cost. See, cost of producing one unit of output, is called average cost. Whatever the amount that we spent on producing one unit of output is called the average cost. So let's understand this through this example. Let's assume that currently we are producing, let's say 200 units of output we are currently producing. All right. And for producing 200 unit of output, can you tell me what will be the different types of costs that we will be applying? We will be spending two types of cost, no? First of all, we will be spending, yes, the fixed cost, we must be spending fixed cost, and we must be spending the variable cost as well. Okay. So let's assume the value of the fixed and the variable cost. Let's assume that currently we are spending 40,000 of the 40,000 as the fixed cost. 40,000 is the fixed cost, and 80,000 for producing 200 units of output. We are spending 80,000 as the variable cost. So can you tell me what will be my total cost for producing 200 unit of output? What will be my total cost for producing 200 unit of output? 1,20,000 will be my total cost, correct? So total cost equals to 1,20,000. This is the total cost, correct? Now tell me, if it is given that 40,000 is spent on production, 40,000 of fixed cost is spent on production of 200 units of output, right? I just wanted to know, if 40,000 is spent for 200 units of output, can anyone tell me what will be the approximate cost of producing one unit of output? If I have spent 40,000 rupees, yeah, just a minute. If I have spent 40,000 rupees for producing 200 units of output, so what will be the fixed cost for producing one unit of output? So it is very simple. If 40,000 has been spent,
Then
if
for
40,
one unit, it will be
just
40,000.
okay. So if you are spending 40,000 for producing 200 unit of output, that means you must be spending approximately on every unit, you must be spending how much? 200 rupees per unit. So what we have done, we have find the fixed cost at 1 unit. This is the fixed cost of producing 1 unit of output. This is called average fixed cost. This is called average fixed cost, and it is written as AFC. So in order to find out the AFC, what we have done, we have simply divided the value of the fixed cost with the quantity. All right, everyone. So in order to find out the fixed cost of the 1 unit of fixed cost, in order to find out the fixed cost of 1 unit, we can simply divide the fixed cost, total fixed cost, divided by the quantity. We will get 200. Now, similarly, can anyone also tell me the variable cost of producing 1 unit of output? So variable cost of producing 200 output is 80,000. Variable cost of producing 200 units of output is 80,000. But what will be the cost of producing 1 unit of output? What will be the variable cost of producing 1 unit of output? So that is very simple, no? 80,000 is for producing how many units? 200 units, right? So that means for every unit, 400 rupee will be spent as the variable cost. So what we are doing now, we are simply calculating, we have divided the variable cost by the quantity, and by doing that we can find out what we can find out the average variable cost. Tell me everyone, is this clear, all of you?
Yes, sir.
So what is average cost? Average cost, as I told you, average cost is cost of producing 1 unit of output. Cost of producing 1 unit of output is called average cost. So we can average, we can find out the average of which cost. We can find out the average of the fixed cost. We can find out the average of the variable cost. And also, can we also calculate the average of the total cost? Yes or no?
Yes,
Can
sir.
you calculate the total cost at 1 unit of output? Yes, we can calculate that
Yes,
as
sir.
well. So if 1,20,000 is spent for producing 200 unit of output, that means for every unit of output, 600 rupees must be spending. So this is called the average total cost, ATC. And in order to calculate the average total cost, we simply divide the total cost by quantity. Tell me everyone, is this clear, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Sakshi, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So average cost is what? Average cost refers to the cost of producing 1 unit of output. And you can calculate the cost of 1 unit. You can find out the 1 unit, fixed cost for 1 unit. You can find out the variable cost for 1 unit. You can calculate the total cost for 1 unit. And in order to calculate the average fixed cost of 1 unit, we calculate average fixed cost. And for that purpose, the formula is fixed cost divided by quantity. For calculating the average variable cost, we divide the variable cost by quantity. And to find out the average total cost, we divide the total cost by quantity. But average total cost can also be determined by simply adding the value of the AFC and AVC. Getting my point? Just like in order to find out the total cost, what do? We simply add the fixed cost with the variable cost to get the total cost. Similarly, in order to calculate the ATC, you can either divide the total cost by quantity, or you can simply add the value of the AFC, which is 200, and AVC, which is 400. You will get the value of ATC, which will be 600. Tell me, is this clear? Tell me everyone, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
ATC can be calculated by two formula, by simply dividing the total cost by quantity, or also
Or
by AFC.
adding the average.
Correct, adding the averages. All right. So let's understand this on the slide as well. Okay, see. So average cost, as I defined, that cost incurred on production of 1 unit of output is called the average cost. And because we have 3 kinds of costs: fixed cost, variable cost, and the total cost, and you can find out the average of every cost. You can find out the average of the fixed, average of the variable, average of the total. Therefore, we can say that average cost can be categorized into 3 parts: average fixed cost, average variable cost, and the average total cost. We have 3 types of averages. All right. Now, let's also let's once again understand the average cost by this small example. Let's suppose we are currently producing 100 units of output, and we are spending 5,000 as the fixed cost, 10,000 as the variable cost, and the total cost is 15,000. So this is the total amount of fixed, variable, and the total cost is being incurred by the firm. But we wanted to know the fixed cost of 1 unit, variable cost of 1 unit, total cost of 1 unit. So in order to do that, we can simply calculate the average fixed cost, average variable cost, and average total cost like this. So fixed cost divided by quantity, we will get 50. Variable cost divided by quantity, we will get 100. And total cost divided by quantity, we will get 150. Done. This is it. Tell me everyone, is this clear, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Everyone else, please tell me, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now let's talk about the average fixed cost in detail. What is actually average fixed cost? So as I told you, in the example is that fixed cost of producing 1 unit of output is called average fixed cost, right? Fixed cost of producing 1 output is 1 unit of output is called average fixed cost. And if I ask you about the formula, can you tell me the formula for the average fixed cost? Yes, sir. Definitely. This is the formula. Average fixed cost equals to fixed cost divided by output, right? Fixed cost divided by total number of units produced, or you can simply write quantity, that is Q. So fixed cost divided by quantity is called average fixed cost. Now, there is one important thing about the average fixed cost. Let's understand this on the note. Just a minute. Yes. So see, let's just talk about the average fixed cost. So in order to do that, we will be taking values of the output. Let's assume these are the output. 1, 2, 3. Just a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and all right. So let's assume this is the value of the fixed cost. Fixed cost is, let's say it is 100 on the first unit. So that means fixed cost will be 100 at all the unit, 100 at the first unit, 100 will be at all the units, 100, 100, 100 and 100 again. All right. Now we need to find out the value of the average fixed cost. So in order to find out the average fixed cost, what we will do, we will simply divide the fixed cost by the output, by the quantity, right? So calculate everyone. 100 divided by 1, how much will be the average fixed cost? 100. Okay. And for second unit, 100 divided by 2, it will be 50. 100 divided by 3, 33.33. Then for the 100 divided by 4, it will be 25. 100 divided by 5, it will be 20. And 100 divided by 6, it will be 16.67, I guess.
16.66, yes.
Okay. So this is the average fixed cost. All right, everyone. Is this clear to all of you? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Any doubt? Anyone? Arisha, Sakshi, Ikra. This is how we calculate the average fixed cost. And what if we let's also take the value of the zero output. So at the zero output also we will have some fixed cost. No, we will have the same fixed cost, in fact 100. So what will be the average fixed cost at this unit?
Not defined.
Not defined. That will be infinity, right? Now try to understand this. We already know the meaning of fixed cost, that is fixed cost of producing 1 unit of output. One important thing that you will notice in the average fixed cost is that as the production increases, as production is increasing from
Average decreases.
yeah, correct. So as the production is increasing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you will notice that average fixed cost is continuously decreasing. It is going down. It is continuously decreasing. That means as output increases, average fixed cost always declines. Always decline. Right? Is this clear, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the question arises, why? Why it happens? Anyone except Samiksha can answer this? Arisha, can you answer this? Why average fixed cost decline with the increase in the level of output? Arisha or Ikra or Sakshi? Anyone? Can anyone explain this? Sakshi, can you explain this? By the way, you are on mute. So anyone can explain me this? Why average fixed cost decreases? Arisha, can you explain this? Just let me know if yes or no. Arisha. Okay. Sakshi, Can you explain this? Why according to you average fixed cost is declining? No response. Okay, Ikra, can you explain this? Why average fixed cost is declining continuously? At least answer, at least give me some response. No, yes or no, say something. Anyone? Okay, Samiksha, can you answer this?
Sir, I don't know the keywords, but I feel maybe because when the number of outputs or when the number of units increases, when the fixed cost remains same. So so when we maybe because when production decreases, because when we increase the cost, so maybe that's why average decreases. I'm not sure.
Okay, it is very simple, guys. Average fixed cost continuously declines because fixed cost always remains constant. Fixed cost is always constant. See, fixed cost is 100 every time. No, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. Every time it is 100, it is constant. And in order to calculate the AFC, what we are actually doing, we are dividing this 100 by the output, and every time output is increasing. That means we will be dividing the fixed cost with every time with the larger output. So 100 divided by 1, we will get 100. But when 100 is divided by 2, we will get the less value, because we are dividing the same value by the different quantities, and quantities, every time quantity is increasing, therefore average fixed cost will decrease.
Decreases.
Right, everyone? Is this clear,
Yes,
all
sir.
of you? Average fixed cost declines because fixed cost always remains constant. Same value has to be divided by the more number of output, therefore average fixed cost declines. Tell me, Arisha, Samiksha, Sakshi, Ikra, is this clear, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, finally. Just a minute. Okay, let's first understand this on the PowerPoint. So see, what is written here? As the output increases, fixed cost declines, but it can never be zero. As the output increases, average fixed cost declines, but it can never be zero. Getting my point? As the output, as we already know that fixed cost decreases with the increase in the output. But can it ever be zero? Answer is no. It can never be zero, because fixed cost can never be zero. Average fixed cost is always calculated on the basis of fixed cost, and fixed cost will always be some positive value. As we have already understood that fixed cost always remains constant. That means even if you increase the production, let's say if the fixed cost is applicable only 100, and you continue to increase the production from 100 to 200, 1000, 50,000, 1 lakh, how much it whatever the value of the output is, fixed cost is going to remain constant, for example. So that means if there is some value, some positive value of the fixed cost, and when you divide the fixed cost with the quantity, you will be getting some positive value. It will be 0 point something, but there must be some value. It can never be zero. So see, this is the calculation for the average fixed cost. And tell me if the calculation is clear to all of you. We have divided the value of the fixed cost with the quantity. We are getting the average fixed cost: infinity, 20, 10, 6.66, 4, 3.33, 2.85, and 2.50. And you can see average fixed cost continuously declining with the increase in the output. And this is happening because already told you that fixed cost is constant throughout the level of production. Therefore, the average fixed cost is continuously declining. And one more important thing is that even if it goes on declining with every unit of output, it can never be zero. All right, everyone, this can never be zero, even if it goes on declining continuously. Is this okay? Tell me, everyone.
Yes,
Is this
sir.
clear to all of you? The concept regarding the average fixed cost is clear to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's make the diagram for the average fixed cost. So for average fixed cost, see on the y-axis we will be taking the value of the average fixed cost, not the marginal cost. By mistake, I have written the marginal cost here. So just do the correction. This will be the average fixed cost. Okay, now see, when we will be making diagram, you can see at the first unit of output, we will have the average fixed cost is 20. Then at the second unit, it goes to directly 50%. Reduction is there. That means 10. Then 5, sorry, then 6 point something. Then it is basically continuously declining, you can see here. And as it is declining continuously, when you will form a diagram connecting all the dots, you will see that the average fixed cost curve will be something like this. So average fixed cost curve is always a downward sloping curve. Is this clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the name of there is one name is given to the average fixed cost curve, which is called the rectangular hyperbola curve. The name of the average fixed cost curve is the rectangular hyperbola curve. All right. And one of the important characteristic of this curve is that it neither touches the x-axis nor it touches the y-axis. It never touch x-axis or nor y-axis. Why it never touch x-axis? It never touch x-axis. Why? Because average fixed cost can never be zero. All right, everyone. Average fixed cost can only touch x-axis when average fixed cost continue to decline and it gets to zero. Once it becomes zero, then only average fixed cost curve can touch the x-axis. This axis I'm talking about. So if it continue to decrease and it decreases to zero, then only average fixed cost curve will touch the x-axis. All right. Is this clear, all of you?
Yes, sir.
So I'm sure that you must be able to understand why it never touch x-axis. But can anyone tell me why it never touch the y-axis? Why it never touch y-axis? It never touch x-axis because the value of the AFC can never be zero. But why it never touch y-axis? Anyone, please? Arisha, Sakshi, Ikra. Anyone can answer this? Samiksha. Why it never touch y-axis? Okay, no problem. Let me explain this. See, anyone remember at 0 unit of output, value of the AFC will be how much? At 0 unit of output, Arisha, what was the value of the AFC at 0 unit of output?
100.
No, at 0 unit of output, it will be infinity.
Infinity.
Right?
Yes.
That is when we divide 50 by 0 or any fixed cost with 0, we will get infinity as the AFC at 0 unit of output. That means,
Sir,
yes.
sir, in the graph, is it marginal cost or average fixed cost?
Average fixed cost it is. That is what I told
Yes,
you.
sir.
That on the y-axis, we will be presenting the value
Marginal
of the
cost.
AFC. By mistake, I have written the marginal
Yes,
cost
sir.
here. So you need to correct this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now see, at 0 unit of output, the value of the average fixed cost is infinity. Let's go back to this table and see. See, at 0 unit of output, how much is the average fixed cost you are able to see? Infinity it is, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now in order to draw the diagram, can you represent the value of 0 output? Sorry, can you represent the
We can't,
AFC
we can't
infinity?
represent infinity.
Correct. At 0 unit of output, AFC is infinity. And you cannot indicate the value of infinity on the diagram. Therefore, AFC never touch the y-axis. And whenever you start drawing the curve for the AFC, you always start from the first unit. You always indicate the value of AFC at the first unit only. So at first unit, AFC is 20, then second unit, then third, fourth, fifth, and so on. You never indicate the value of 0 at 0 unit of output. What will be the value of AFC? Because you won't be able to indicate that. You cannot indicate the AFC, infinity value of AFC. Therefore, because it cannot be represented on the diagram, therefore the AFC curve never touch the y-axis. Tell me, Arisha and everyone else, is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sakshi, is this clear to you as well? Okay, I hope everything that we have discussed in today's session is clear to all of you. In today's class, we were discussing about the average cost. And in the average cost, I have told you there are basically the average cost is the cost of producing 1 unit of output. And average costs are of 3 types: average fixed, average variable, and average total cost. In today's session, we have only covered one average cost, that is average fixed cost, wherein I explained the meaning of the average fixed cost, formula for calculating the average fixed cost, then understood the tabular calculation of the average fixed cost and the diagrammatic representation of the AFC, average fixed cost. All right. In the upcoming session, in the next session, tomorrow, we will be discussing about the average variable cost, and one more average cost is in this chapter, that is average total cost. We will also discuss that. So this is it, guys, for today's class. We will be discussing about the average variable and the average total cost in tomorrow's session. All right. Thank you for attending the class, everyone. Sakshi and Ikra and Arisha, you can leave the session now. And everyone else, we will take a break of 5 minutes, then we will continue with our account session. Okay.
Yes, sir.